Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 4th annual Gamecock Teaching Days. This year, we're showcasing some of the best high-quality online teaching we have here in the College of Arts and Sciences. I'd now like to introduce Dr. Andy Schumper, who is an instructor in the Department of Biological Sciences.
Hi, how's everybody doing? There. All right, so I wanted to chat with y'all a little bit about the use of virtual reality in an online lab. So we'll kind of walk through the way we implemented this. There's some sort of logistical things we talk about, as well as kind of the sort of science behind it as well. So this is all kind of, let me, got a few sort of session outcomes for you. So by the end of the session, participants will be able to discuss the benefits of using virtual reality in their course, engage with virtual reality content for educational purposes, although gaming's also fun, and identify specific topics in the course that may be enhanced through virtual reality. So we'll kind of start out looking at the online lab that we implemented this in, and that's Biology 102 lab. And we'll see kind of the sort of the population of students that typically take this, and maybe a little bit of an issue that we saw creeping in. And we kind of implemented virtual reality and face-to-face iterations of the course. And then when the pandemic hit and last March, we sort of shifted, we pivoted, I'll use all the buzzwords, to the new normal. Anyway, we basically got into using virtual reality in an online lab. Right? And then we'll talk about how to actually implement this in terms of logistics. And we'll actually see we did have some survey from the face-to-face iterations, some actual data to see what students actually thought about the use of virtual reality in the classroom. So, figured I skipped one. General purposes lab 2. All right, so this is real general stuff for our biology students. Typically, we have overwhelming freshmen in these courses. Sometimes we'll have a sophomore or a senior sneak in there as well. But there's such a wide range of topics that we cover in the class. So we're talking biodiversity, ecology, evolution, anatomy, physiology, even some histology. It's a wide range of topics that get covered. And so usually we have biological sciences majors in here, but sometimes we'll have other majors as well, because it is a Carolina Core SCI requirement or an option for them to take as well. So we kind of noticed that some students were having issues with some of the topics that we went over, especially the topic of evolution. Students kind of start to they zone out. They don't fully kind of comprehend the concept. And evolution, unfortunately, oftentimes gets sort of politicized in a sense, and sort of offshoots of it can be used almost as an agenda for different things. And so we saw that some of the course concepts were sort of abstract, kind of distant, maybe difficult for students to actually visualize. So the engagement we predicted was relatively low. And so we were trying to look at ways that we could enhance engagement for our students. And so theory of evolution was kind of the one that we really wanted to focus on the most, because this was going to be kind of most beneficial for them, even if they go on. And, it's funny because in 102 lab, it's a bit more ecology evolution. So all our biological sciences majors that are like, I'm going to medical school, why do I have to take this? This is actually a pretty foundational concept, and we try to make sure that students realize how important the theory of evolution actually is. And so we also wanted to enhance plants. All right. Again, if they're going to medical school, they think they really don't like plants typically. And so we try to kind of spice things up for them a little bit with some plants. And so we kind of went into this thinking okay, here's some issues. Is there sort of an option, a solution that we can use that would benefit them that's not too costly? And not too much work on our part either, because honestly, we wanted a way to enhance engagement without having to really restructure everything. And so the way we implemented this was really quite small, right? We literally went out when this first started, the little plastic headset there, I literally just went to the store and purchased like 200 of these things. They're actually on sale for like $1 a piece, which I was like, okay, cool. You know, take my money. So we got all these things, brought them back to the lab, slapped some 102 lab stickers on them, and called it done. And so what we would do, basically you insert your phone into the kind of front, this little pink cover opens up. And so as we'll see in just a second, you can pull up like YouTube videos, put them in on your phone, and you basically insert your phone into this little cover here, and then you are like in an immersive environment. And so we were pretty excited about these. So I wanted to ask y'all, so when you hear the term or the phrase virtual reality, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Feel free to drop it in the chat, or turn on your mic if you want to.
Andy, we also had a question about wondering if you experienced a lot of pushback from students regarding the theory of evolution.
Actually, no. It's minimal than what I originally anticipated. It's like, so right now I'm also teaching an immunology course, and the first time I taught immunology, I was thinking, oh man, we're going to get to the vaccination lecture and it's going to be like, you know, anti-vax everything. But very minimal pushback in terms of both the theory of evolution and anti-vaccines. But yeah, luckily very minimal, at least that they're willing to vocalize. You know, maybe they internalize that a little bit more, but yeah. So yeah, I see a lot of gaming. Yeah, Ready Player One. Yes, absolutely. I'm ready for the full haptic suit, right? That'd be great. Oculus. Yeah, lots of gaming, lots of sci-fi. And so we, where can we purchase the cheap ones? Literally Walmart. That's where the dollar one was. So yeah, not definitely not Target, but yeah, Walmart. So we kind of shifted to this as a way to enhance that student engagement. And so what we were looking at specifically using was 360-degree video. And so what we're using is actually sort of pre-made and pre-uploaded videos on YouTube. There's amazing content already available on YouTube. And some of the big companies like National Geographic, Discovery Channel, they actually have gone out and captured a bunch of footage and uploaded it to YouTube. So it's kind of all sort of there ready for use. And so what we did, and you can kind of see, here's a little camera. You essentially, and I kind of like this drawing over here, this little diagram. It captures not only things in front of the camera, but behind it, to the side, above it. And so you really get an immersive experience. It's like you, when you put on a headset and you're watching a 360-degree video, it feels like you are literally in that spot that the camera is located. So in terms of ways to traditionally enhance engagement, one thing is like field trips, right? Like, oh, let's go, you know, to Congaree National Park, for example. We could have taken the students there. With 102 labs, there's roughly 60 sections a year, and they're typically running from 8 in the morning to like 10 o'clock at night. Just getting the buses was going to be a logistical nightmare there. And especially now with, I know 301 lab has some issues trying to find buses for field trips as well. So this to us was like, hey, this is kind of a win-win. We can kind of take field trips and even engage in some activities that we wouldn't be able to otherwise. Because I'll show y'all some videos. Some things, yeah, I don't think we trust undergraduates with, but yeah. So I probably wouldn't trust myself with some of this. So benefits of virtual reality we found. So there's some previous publications, so Huang and Liao, safe, convenient, relatively low cost for what you're actually getting. And it has been shown to increase student engagement. So it provides a nice, active, constructivist learning environment for the students. And they actually get to see what we're talking about. And so we'll see kind of how we implemented this in 102 lab. So literally, y'all, this is what I did. I went to YouTube and I just typed in Galapagos Islands 360, hit enter, and the first thing that popped up is actually a video we'll see here in just a bit. But this is from National Geographic, and there's so much content on there. So we literally just said, hey, okay, we'll include this in our course. We'll just include this link on Blackboard and tell students, hey, pull this up on your phone, click on there's like a little goggle icon. You click on, you insert it in the headset, you put the headset on, and you are transported, in this case, to the Galapagos Islands. And so really nice, easy way to kind of implement this. And in terms of cost, again, the $1 headset was pretty amazing. Accessibility is something that we were concerned about, because I wanted to make sure that students that may not have a cell phone would still be able to experience this. Luckily, we have laptops in the lab, and these particular videos, you can, if you don't have a headset, you can still kind of drag around the screen and kind of look up and look down. It's a little less immersive, but it's still a pretty engaging experience. Really, in the face-to-face iterations that we implemented this, we really didn't encounter anyone that didn't have a phone, which we were very happy about. But we provided that option for students because we didn't want to exclude anyone there. Now, if there's something in your particular field you're interested in, but there's nothing on YouTube, the Garmin Virb is kind of the go-to camera for this, and that the software is extremely easy to use. 15 to 30 minutes playing around with it. If you've got any smidgen of editing kind of experience there, you kind of take off with it. Very user-friendly. And there used to be several that were available for checkout there in the Center for Teaching Excellence. And what we wanted to do is start small. So we weren't completely revamping the curriculum. These were little snippets that we just added to the lesson. So in lab, we were already talking about evolution. So we just included this 360-degree video experience and give the students 10 to 15 minutes to explore these particular videos. And so we weren't replacing anything. We weren't really revamping much. We were just adding this to it, supplementing it as a means to enhance that engagement. And so when everything shifted online, we were like, well, how can we implement this for our students online? And so we literally just put in the recommended course materials inexpensive VR goggles for your phone. And we included a link to the one from Walmart and a few from Amazon, other kind of popular locations that students could purchase these. And we did tell them it was recommended, and that if they didn't want to purchase it, they could still view this on their laptop. And so, again, we kind of made sure that they knew that this was an option for them. So this is also something we wanted to make sure that students could visualize something. So this is, so I'm now coordinating Biology 302 labs, which is cell and molecular biology. And we've actually this week, in fact, we have some Oculus Quest 2 headsets in lab, and students are getting to kind of explore the inside of a cell. which is something that students seem to always have a tough time visualizing this. And so in an online variety, we just kind of said, hey, let's do it this way and kind of go from there. We kind of also revamped a few things. We used to have a biodiversity photo scavenger hunt that we would do in lab here when it was face-to-face. And students would have to, go around campus and get a picture of like someone's dog or like a specific tree. And so instead of students having to do that on campus, we kind of revamped it and had students look at the biodiversity around their own residence. So wherever they're located, can you find some type of bird or a plant or some sort of insect, and kind of had them exploring and engaging in ways that are right there beside them. So,
Andy, we got a quick question for you.
yes.
Have you used this in a lecture setting? We have Kelly wondering if you can project this onto a big screen where one student is wearing the goggles and the rest are watching.
So I know with the Oculus Quest, they do have the ability to cast to things like, I'm going to blank now, like Chromecast from Google. So you can, and I actually played around with this a little bit, like on even my TV at home. I was like, can we just cast this? Because, all the kids wanted to watch me play Star Wars. And you can do that. It actually, it turns out pretty good, a little glitchy at times, but overall you kind of still get the same experience as the person wearing the headset. Not as immersive, but still, everybody can kind of laugh along and kind of watch and experience that too. So, but yeah, with evolution here, we were really trying to enhance student engagement. So the one thing with evolution that you always see, if you're looking at the textbook, you might get a nice picture of young Darwin here. He looks like a fun guy, like somebody you'd really want to have a drink with. You might get old Darwin, which, you've probably seen his face on so many different caricatures over the years. If you're real lucky, you might get a picture of the ship that he sailed on around the globe there. Yay, the HMS Beagle. And man, if you're really getting out there, you might even get a map of the Galapagos Islands, which is where Darwin visited, where all the kind of the early discovery, the early formings of the theory of evolution kind of first started for him. And so we wanted to take our students to the Galapagos Islands, right? Even nowadays, if you tried to say, I'm going to book a, all expenses paid trip to the Galapagos, good luck. There's a lot of red tape, a lot of odd things that happen, especially when I go to very specific islands. And so let's see if this will play in PowerPoint. If not, I'll jump to Chrome.
Nice, like no other.
So you can kind of drag around.
Home to creatures found nowhere else on Earth. These islands sparked Darwin's theory of evolution. But beneath these waves is a world Darwin never saw. At the crossroads of 5 massive ocean currents, it's a nexus of epic underwater journeys. This Galapagos green turtle has traveled over 600 miles to lay her eggs on these shores. A baby sea lion, just weeks old, is still too young to head out with the others. In the seabird colonies, the next generation is arriving. After years out at sea, the waved albatross has returned to find a mate. Wild and untamed, the Galapagos will change the way you understand the natural world. Join us on the journey of a lifetime.
So yeah, you can see with that, with a 2D format, you can kind of look all around. You can look up and look down. And if you had your phone in one of these headsets, you'd have the headset on, and then you physically looking up and down would kind of move within the video itself, which is pretty cool there. And so there's also another one, for time's sake, I won't show everything, but it is literally, let's see, actually, yeah, I won't show that one. It's basically climbing a giant sequoia. Let's see. There we go. Yeah. So with that, so we were pretty excited, right? We found this nice, sort of pre-made, ready to go, real high production quality ways to enhance student engagement. But what did our students think? We were kind of, I wanted to make sure that this wasn't just sort of something we were implementing to say we were implementing, right? That we wanted to make sure this was actually benefiting our students. And so we kind of implemented this. All the survey data was taken fall 2019 and spring 2020 before the shutdown. So all this data is from face-to-face iterations. And unfortunately, we didn't get any data from online iterations of this yet. But we had pretty big response here. So about 50% response rate here. So 679 responses. And so we had asked them a few different sort of statements. We used a Likert scale, so I can better visualize some global biodiversity through this activity. And overwhelmingly, it's positive. So generally speaking, in the next few graphs, if it's blue, it's more towards they agree. Usually darker the color, the more strongly they agree with that. Gray is neutral. And then red, if it's darker in color, it's more strong than the lighter color there. And so overall, they were very positive in this. They thought they could better visualize some global biodiversity there. And this activity helped me engage with the topic. Again, very strong here. So roughly 40% strongly agree, 42% just agree there. And only 2.7% strongly disagree. And that also brings into account the kind of the logistical concerns too. So they say about 6% of students, and this is almost like 6% of like anybody that tries to use virtual reality will experience some type of motion sickness or a variation of that in which they don't like it. And it's kind of funny, we left this optional for the students as well. And the students were very, they got really passionate about this. Like the ones who really wanted some virtual reality, man, they really wanted some virtual reality. And we actually, it's funny to see that again this semester in 302 lab. One of my TAs was like, there are several students that have been just itching to get their hands on these headsets. But yeah, so I would like to see more 360-degree videos in lab. And again, overall positive here, larger neutral. They're like, yeah, okay. And then technology distracted me from the topic at hand because we were kind of wondering, it is Gen Z. So we were thinking, for the most part, they'd probably be okay with it. And that's pretty much what the survey showed. Not a big distraction for them. And then we also asked if they used 360-degree video or virtual reality in other courses, and it was overwhelmingly no, they had not. So we were pretty excited about that. So beyond 360 degree, in terms of 102 lab, we wanted to, and we implemented this for evolution as well as plants. There was also one for like a tour of the heart when we got to anatomy that they could do. So again, just kind of little snippets for them to engage with. And in terms of online, they can literally be anywhere on the planet as long as they have internet connection and access to YouTube and these particular videos. They can experience this same thing. So it was a way too to try to build a little bit of kind of social equity there in the class, trying to bring our students together, have them share these experiences wherever they are. So yeah. So let's shift to some questions.